Guys, also, if you are not an IADFW member, please don't try to go to the IADFW group and try to join. Because if you can't provide your username and if it can't be verified that you're an IADFW member, you're going to get rejected. You're just taking up the time of the moderators. We've had hundreds of people that have tried to join the group and they can't because every moderator has a way of checking if you're an actual IADFW member. And if you're not, that means you didn't go through the agreement. You didn't go through all the information. And a lot of people, they read the IADFW agreement and that's what really gets them excited and fired up because they see all the principles, every agreement in there. It's all based upon what our forefathers had ordained for us. If you are a lover of freedom, then you will love joining the International Association for a Disease-Free World because it's all about health freedom, all about health freedom. It's about your autonomy. It's about your sovereign right. And it doesn't matter whether you're an American citizen or not an American citizen. I don't care whether you're from New Zealand or Zimbabwe or Rwanda or wherever. I don't care. It's open to every single person. If you have a problem signing the agreement, well, good luck in your life. You will not be a member. And we've had people say, well, I really want to join, but I have a problem with this. Well, then you have a problem with it. If you have a problem with health freedom, then you got a problem with it. So I hope to God that you guys understand the seriousness of this. I still can't imagine what's going on and why it's going on. I know that, it's hard for me to believe it's going on. I obviously know why it's going on, just as you know why it's going on, because there's a higher agenda. The agenda is definitely a vaccine coming down on the IADFW. I'll lay it out to you what I really believe is going on. And it is massive, massive collusion and corruption. But I think that there are many people high up that also know what the truth is. And there are many different ideas. There are many different things that are being said about the roundup with QAnon and all these different things. They're the anarchists and all these different thought processes going on. And maybe every one of them is right. And if it is, and it's going to be a better world, that's fantastic. I truly do believe it's going to be a better world. But right now, what we're going through is just unbelievable. Remember where the danger lies. The danger is not in COVID-19. The danger is in the misinformation. The danger is in the agenda that's basically fueling this. The danger is what's going to come down the pipeline. The danger is you losing your sovereign rights and then being mandated to do X, Y, and Z. But of course, they know it's going to be a lot easier for them instead of mandating it if they have people rushing in and saying, please save me, save me, save me, because they're going to come up with the solution. I just want you to know that the problem they created the problem in 2003. They fine-tuned it in 2013, 2014. They patented the patent on the virus that they perfected. And then this illusion, it wasn't as bad as thank God it wasn't as bad as they were hoping for it to be or whatever the issue was. Because of course they have to live with it themselves. So they didn't want to potentially get the issue themselves. So they made it something that would only affect the immunocompromised, the ones that were sick, that were the ones that were already elderly and that were going to die sooner or later anyway, within the next 6 months, a year. It just takes them out easier, faster, allows them to then justify that the cause was a virus. They don't have to blame it on the industry. That is another big thing. On Thursday, we're doing a webinar. On Thursday, look for on social media, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. We'll send out an email. We're going to be doing a webinar on Thursday. That webinar is for a solution to protect you against this global microwave that's being built, that has been built. That's all based upon part 4 that was already released. Watch part 4. If you value that information, part 4, you need to be on this webinar because we're going to give the solution for that, for this massive global microwave that is called 5G. And I want you to understand what's going on with 5G. Our electric outlets in our walls run at 50 hertz to 60 hertz, depending on where we are in which part of the world. If you're in the United States, they're cycling at 60 hertz. If you live in Europe, they're cycling at 50 hertz. When we pick up our cell phones, our mobile devices, our iPads, they're up to between 600 to 900 hertz. When you're talking about 5G, you're going to 30 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. All right. The studies have been shown that at 1.8 gigahertz, cancers are starting. Cancers in the heart, cancers in the brain, cancers in the adrenal glands, all sorts of different things, suppression of the immune system. The voltage-gated calcium channels are disrupted, allowing for efflux of calcium into the cells, intracellular efflux of calcium that causes a suppression of apoptosis, which is the definition of cancer. So please be aware of what's going on. So on Thursday, this Thursday, there will be a webinar. We will send out the links so you can get registered for the webinar. In fact, if you can click on the Facebook link right now, that's on the top of the Facebook, or on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you can click on that link. And even if you filled out that opt-in form, there's a new question in there. If you're interested in in being notified of the upcoming webinar, just click on that, and then you'll just get registered at advancedmedicine.com. That's all I can tell you. Get registered at advancedmedicine.com, and you'll have access to the head map. You'll have, more importantly, the access to, well, it's not more important, but that's the tool that's going to be important. You're going to have access to the part 5 video, and you're going to have access to further information. I'm going to try to answer one or two more questions. I don't even know what time it is. Okay. You're welcome, Natalie. And thank you. I appreciate it. Praying for us all. The age of Aquarius is here. You're right, Natalie. And everyone on this video right now, set that intention. Remember, the difference between intention and prayer is nothing. Intention is non-religious. That's the only difference. So set that intention, which is nothing more than a prayer, that we all come out of this unscathed. They are going to be people that are going to be injured, but they're going to be injured because they're going to run to their savior to get the vaccine for this illusion. And people will get hurt by this. But that everyone that is aware, everybody that wants to know the truth, that they are safe, that your children are safe, that's my intention for every one of you. And please have that intention for each other. Dixie says the people that die of natural causes being said that they died from the virus. That's exactly right. And that's what part 5 shows. I'm not just repeating something. I'm going to show you the text messages that I'm getting from different people in the country, where doctors are being sent home, where nurses go home and come back for the next shift, and the cause of death has been altered. The mandate now from the Centers for Disease Control that says that the cause of death should be changed. The form that actually shows how the new mandate for signing the death certificates now should be the proper way of doing it, meaning that whatever the cause of death is needs to be secondary. COVID-19 needs to be listed as the primary cause of death. I'm going to show that form. That's all in part 5. I'm going to show you the patents. I'm going to show you when those patents were perfected. I'm going to show you that this was in the European Patent Office. I'm going to show you the name of the company that owns it. And I'm going to show you who owns that company. And if I say it here, I will get censored. I'd probably get zapped from the sky if I even said that name. But you've all seen that person. Every one of you knows that person. I don't think there's a single person on this planet that doesn't know who that person is. It'll be on part 5. You'll see it all. It's so funny because I've told people that are close to me already that this information is going to change everything. This is going to be the most explosive information. And boom, people just carrying 2%, 5%, 7% of this information have been shut down. So we're fortunate we hadn't put it out, but we had basically collected it all into one place, and you're going to see it. And it's going to be comical in one way because you're going to see how absurd it is. But in the other way, you are going to be enraged. You're going to be angry because the truth is coming out there. I don't know what's going on over here. So if Instagram is screwing up, I apologize, guys. And I'm sorry that I can't. There's so many. I mean, there's like almost 1,400 comments now, and they're coming faster than I can read them. So, and if I'm not answering your questions, just because I don't even, they're going by so fast. So I apologize. Let's see. Candace says, Lisa Ann, New York City has a population of over, okay, so he just disappeared. I can let me read the one from the bottom. Sandra says, March 30th begins the awakening. From your mouth to God's ears, Sandra, and to the ears of everybody else out there. All right. Chantel says, I'm so glad I found your page. Thank you for speaking about this. Chantel, I don't think anybody that knows this information has a choice but to speak out, because if we don't speak up and if we don't tell everybody else, then all we're doing is we're hurting ourselves, our loved ones, our families, our progeny, our future generations. We have to do something. Everybody has to do something. Everybody has to pay it forward and tell everybody. Okay. If somebody's going to just tell you to shut up and they don't want to hear it, then fine. Walk away from them. You don't have to, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. This is for the 2 or 3 people that are close to you, no matter what they say, the 3 people that are really close to you, that you can tell them, shut the hell up and just listen to me and go watch this video, or I'm going to beat the crap out of you. That's the type that this information is meant for. 2 or 3 people that are close to you. The rest of them forget. And then those 2 or 3 people will do the same thing, and the information will get out there. It has to get out there. Rachel said part 5 is when? Part 5 is already done. It was being put together. We were just in the last couple of things that need to be put together. It was supposed to be released tonight or first thing in the morning. Hopefully we'll still be able to make it tomorrow morning, but it will not be in YouTube. Actually, I am going to put out something in YouTube under part 5, but it's just going to be very anemic. It's going to be maybe 5 or 10 minutes. It's maybe going to be part of this edited down so people know that, okay, there's a part 5, but the only way for them to watch it is to go on Advanced Medicine and watch it, because we're not going to allow it to shut us down. But that information needs to get out. And unless people tell me that even that may be too hot to put that out there, then maybe I won't do that. But basically what they're doing is they're preventing the dissemination of this information, because you can't refute it. No matter what the media says, you can't refute seeing the footage of 2 different hospitals in 2 different countries, one New York City and one in the hardest hit city in Italy. And then you see, oh my God, it's the same video. It's the same people. It's the same thing and taken at 2 different angles. And when you're watching the video, you see 2 different angles. And then at one point, it's the same angle. It's like the cameras are moving and you got the same exact angle. And they're promoting it on CNN as a hospital in New York, an ICU. And then they show the same footage in Italy. Here's the disturbing thing. I have spent a hell of a lot of time in ICUs. A hell of a lot of time. I was in the surgical intensive care unit when I was a resident at Brooke Army Medical Center. I was in the medicine intensive care units when I was a resident, in other services after as an attending, even before as a medical student. And I can tell you that intensive care unit looked really, really suspicious of a staged corridor, like a big room. It just didn't look like an intensive care unit. Intensive care units are set up like in a circle. These were like 2 rows of beds. So you walk in between them. And intensive care units usually are isolated rooms. These were just all beds, open bays, like the old time hospitals. And there are people walking around with masks and this and that. It was like staged. All right, let's see. What's the story with 5G? Listen, guys, I'm not going to repeat the same stuff. Go and watch the video. It's already on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Go to under Dr. Buttar, just do a search under Dr. Buttar or our Facebook page. That video has already, on the 5G one, has already surpassed all of them. I think it's already been viewed 400,000 times on Facebook. Just go to YouTube. Every one of these videos right now, part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4 are on YouTube. Part 1 was facts versus fiction. They're all part of the they're all part of the COVID-19 conspiracy ? First one is facts versus fiction. Second one is toxicology ignored. By the way, toxicology ignored. I start off in part 5 about the toxicology component, telling people that they really need to pay attention to the toxicology video, the second one, because just like the title of the video, toxicology ignored, people ignore that video. That's the least viewed video, and it's probably the most important video for you to watch. And because the 5G component is also part of the toxicity, what I'm going to be talking about in part 5, part 4 and part 5, it's all part and parcel of toxicity, emotional toxicity, psychological toxicity, energetic toxicity. So those of you that are familiar with the facts on toxicity, they end up realizing that all 5 of these videos so far in all aspects cover one of those 7 toxicities. The 7 toxicities is a video series. You can see that for free on Advanced Medicine platform too. Just go to Health Education on the left-hand side and you'll find those videos. So there's 7 toxicities: heavy metals, persistent organic pollutants, opportunistics, which is what bacteria, viruses, spirochetes, mycoplasma, yeast, parasites, that's what COVID-19 falls into, the opportunistics. 4th is energetics. 5th is emotional, psychological. 6th is foods, not what we're eating, but what we do to the foods, the pasteurization, homogenization, irradiation, genetic modification, that type of stuff. And 7 is spiritual toxicity. Of these 7 toxicities, the first and second one, heavy metals and persistent organic pollutants, almost everybody has it to some level on the planet. If they've been vaccinated, they already have both of those. Third one, opportunistic, that's the COVID-19. And or, by the way, one part I forgot to mention, I've exposed in part 5, is that anybody who's had a vaccine has a high false positive for COVID-19. They have found studies, and I showed the study, that if you've had a vaccine in the past, especially the trivalent vaccines, that there is a false positive that shows up for COVID-19 if they're tested. And that's a study that was published a couple of years ago. So the third toxicity is the opportunistics. The fourth one is energetics. That's where the microwave, the 5G comes in. The fifth toxicity, emotional psychological. What is this? They're making us paranoid. They're creating hysteria. They're scaring us. They're trying to induce fear. That's the fifth toxicity, the emotional aspect, the psychological aspect. The sixth one, foods. That's been going on for years, what they've been doing to the foods, the genetic modification of foods, all the chemicals and all the, the glyphosates, the weed kill, all the stuff that comes in our foods. And the seventh one, spiritual toxicity. So they're hitting us on every one of these 7 toxicities. It is now up to us to become aware, empowered, and stand up and refuse this nonsense. So you got to let people know. You know how you're going to let them know. We're going to put a small little video out about part 5, maybe. I'm not even sure if I'm going to do that, but part 5 in full, because you have to see the whole thing. It was almost 3 hours long, and we reduced it down to, I think it's 57 minutes. I may end up actually increasing a little bit more because some of that footage that I had that I was going to trim off, they've completely gone, taken it away. And my goal was that you guys go and watch that additional footage, but now it's gone. So regardless, but part 5 will give it all to you. If you are able to sit and watch something, it will change your life. I guarantee you that video will change your life. It will let you see the truth, and you will want to scream from the top of your lungs, from the highest tower that you can get on, that you're outraged by what's going on. And that's what's important, that you let those that are open and receptive, let them know what's going on, give them the invitation code, let them go and let them watch the video on advancedmedicine.com.